Ahlan wa sahlan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's yet another beautiful Tuesday evening that we are hosting you here at SambaSports Youth Agenda on a Mental Health Tuesday. Every week, we are here to share a platform so that we are able to discuss matters mental wellness, so that we are able to help ourselves, but not just that, but also be able to share coping mechanisms with our friends and relatives and those around us. We take cognizance that the world is being affected drastically by mental health issues, and every Tuesday we offer that opportunity that we may bring guests to empower us with tips and education that is going to be helping us to cope with our various mental health situations. I'm Mohammed Ali Machausa, your host and moderator, and welcome. And today, our guest speaker, none other than Nimo Shah. She's been in the house for the last 15 or 20 minutes, chomping at the bit, excited to start. Nima, can you say hi to the audience?
Hi, everybody, and it's wonderful to meet you all. My name is Nimo, and thanks, Mo, for the wonderful and enthusiastic introduction. I am truly honored and happy to be able to share my experience with you and everybody else over here. Yes.
Wow, thank you very much. And this is a safe platform, and it's an inclusive and participatory platform. It's a platform conversation for participation. It's not anybody's platform. It's a platform for all of us. And for that, I would urge you guys, you raise your hands if you want to say something, or you may write on the call chat. Tell us what's your name, where you are listening from, and if you have an opinion, you have a question, please just drop it on the call chat, and we will raise it to the speaker. Thank you very much. And without much ado, Nimo, can you tell us who is Nimo and what do you do?
So, I'm a volunteer for the Art of Living Foundation. And just a little bit about the background of the Art of Living. We're present in 156 countries around the world. We are volunteers, more than 30,000 teachers who teach a program. And from that program, people learn how to deal with their stress, how to let go of negative emotions through breathing. And it's a lot more than that. It's also how to learn how to be happy within yourself and how to have that sense of well being, mental well being. So the Art of Living is expanded globally, and more than 420 million people have benefited from the programs and the projects of the Art of Living Foundation. The founder himself is from India. His name is Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. And the program is not a dogmatic program. It's a very easy to learn, great way of knowing who you are and understanding the mind. So I'm one of the many volunteers who've come in to speak about their experience. And just a little bit about myself. I'm married for 18 years, and I've done my master's in social development from the London School of Economics. I also have a bachelor's of science degree in psychology. And one of the things that has fascinated me since I was young is, how does the mind work? How do people learn about themselves? And so this is where my journey started off from. And there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to my experience. I've been teaching this program for 22 years in different countries of the world. And I've learned a lot interacting with people, learning about them, and also learning how the program has benefited them. For me personally, I did the program when I was very young. I was all of 16 and a half, just going into 17. I did the breathing technique known as the sky breath, which we teach on the program. And I was bullied as a child. And as I grew into my experience, went into university, I came last in my class. You won't believe it. But I managed to get into one of the best universities in the world because I saw how much this program had helped me. And as I went through the years, I understood that the program and what I gained from it has given me so much, that I want to go out and train and help other youth to also understand how to succeed, how to enable themselves, not only youth, even adults I teach, and how to empower their lives. So this is a very short but concise background about myself.
Nimo, that's exciting. That's wonderful. You know, you are taking a risk that I may want to know more about the art of living than the topic of the day, but I'm remaining guarded so that I will be speaking about. I'll be speaking with you about art of living in another forum.
Sure.
But hoping that we can have a lot more volunteers coming and share the experiences here. Wonderful, wonderful few minutes. Nimo and everyone, a lot of the times we find ourselves, you know, engulfed by, by pain, by stress, by a lot of issues in our lives. And sometimes you say, what is life for if I came here to suffer and stuff? We find our minds wandering around, into spheres of pain, spheres of dilemma, spheres of, disillusion and all that. But your topic today talks about building mind resilience. How can we tether our mind so that it circles only around the areas that makes us happy, even with the presence of stress, trauma, pain, and everything? But we are able to, cocoon ourselves within happiness, bliss, sweetness. Nemo, take us through that.
So, the mind is a very complex organism, I would say, not even organism. It's much more than that. It's a whole thought process, and then that thought process turns into an action, and then that action becomes into something that you enact or you don't. So there are so many levels to the mind. And how do we look at our own mind? How do we observe it? How do we handle it? This is the major question that psychologists have, that people have, because if you don't understand your own mind, then how can you handle your own life? This is a question many people have. And also, how do we, fortify our mind, I would say, like you take an immunity capsule against, any type of disease, especially in COVID. We learned how to build our immunity, but also building our mind is really important. How do we have this strength in our mind to deal with life's challenges, life's traumas, life's situations? People can say anything to us, good or bad. And the question I have, if people say 10 good things to you and one negative, what will you hold on to? So this is I'd like everybody to be part of this, so we understand the process. Yeah. If I gave you 10 compliments and one insult, what will you hold on to? If I say 10 good things and one negative, Mohammed, what would you hold on to?
Negative.
Yes.
One negative.
So the tendency of the mind is to hold on to the negative, and we forget the 10 good things that have been told to us. For example, if someone comes to me and says, Nimo, you're a donkey, and I come after 20 years and I look at that person, I never remember the person. I only remember that he's or she has called me a donkey, isn't it? So the tendency of the mind is to hold on to the negative that's going on. How do we learn to be happy and to let go of all of these negative experiences that we have? See, in life, you can't tell people not to be bad to you. Can you? Is it possible? No. What is going to come to you is going to come. People are going to say to you, regardless, whatever their mood is that day, however they're feeling, they're going to come and say to you. Either they might insult you, they might abuse you, they might say something good. But if I say something good to you, for example, if your friend says to you, hey, you look good today. You look, oh, really? Do I really look good? And if somebody says, I hate you. oh yeah, you really hate me. Are you seeing? Are you seeing the tendency? Yes. If I said something good, you'll doubt the positive. If I say something bad, you'll hold on to it like the gospel truth. So this is why I'm holding my hands like this, because we hold on to all our negatives like it's the gospel truth, and we don't want to let go. Look at that. If we can all put our fists like that, I can't see you all, but just do that. Now let go. Now tell me what's easier, to hold on or to let go? Which is easier? To let go, yes.
To let
So
go.
yeah. So, the one thing I learned over the years of my experience of teaching and also through the programs is that the breath plays a very important role in helping us in understanding our own mind. And I'm not just saying this because it's part of the Art of Living program. I'm also saying this because if you Google benefits of breathing, you will have hundreds and thousands of studies showing you that there is a benefit to breathing. Yeah. So many of you might be telling me right now, might be going on in your mind that, hey, I breathe already. But no, there's a way to learn how to breathe. For example, when you're very angry, how does your breath become? Just notice. Yeah, fast. Thanks, Mo. I can see you. Nazneen, I can see. Yeah, she's also nodding. It's fast. So when you're happy, your breath is most in rhythm with your body. When you're angry, your breath is fast. So your breath and your emotions are connected 100%. So your breath is like, like the kite, like the string of a kite. And the mind is like the uh, the kite, the body of the kite. So the more you learn to work with your breath, which is the string, the more you understand the mind. So we have two choices, I feel. And this is something I'm really, so I have no words to put to it, because for myself as an individual, when I was young, I was bullied. And I understood that if a child or a youth or an individual, even an adult, goes through even 5% of what I was feeling, and the breath helped me to understand how to let go, then I must go out and train people, because we tend to, stick on to things a lot. My trauma, my experience, my unhappiness, and then you forget about the other person, and you don't live the life that you need to live to be in that, what Mo called, cocoon of happiness, you know. So happiness, I find some people, especially after COVID, we became so aware about our own mental health and well-being. I was doing, so many online sessions, training people. After, luckily in March, when things started to calm down, I went into a number of trainings with my colleague Ben, and we taught, hundreds of youth through the breathing exercise how to let go of stress. So the choice you have is, do I want to hold on to everything like this and say, yeah, this is the way I want to live my life? Or do I want to have a resilient mind and build it and learn to let go? Because, it's not easy, I know, to say, oh, let go of trauma. And if it was that easy, you'd have done it by now. I know that, because everyone wants to be happy, right? It's not easy, because you can be happy one day, and one day that trauma just comes sliding down into your system, and you remember everything, and you hate the world around you, and those destructive habits and experiences start to play in your mind like a tape, and then you're not able to let go, no matter what anybody says. You could have good friends around you, and you could have, a good, everything, but it's not working for you, because that same experience keeps playing out. So, the mind is one thing that holds on to impressions. And this is a secret I want to share with you. And the breath is one thing that helps you to let go of that slowly but surely, So, building resilience in the mind and learning how to be happy, I said, has many layers. And one of the layers which I think more resonated with, and Ben and Pauline and many of you who are here on the call, was also, which is very deep, very profound, is acceptance, and it's not something, again, that I say that comes easily. So are we able to accept, and I have a very beautiful analogy for this, Mo, if you'd let me just take 2 minutes before you ask me another question. When we have two points, two positive and negative, we have an atom. And many of you know there are atoms in your body, and there is a positive and negative in the atmosphere. So everything has a positive and negative, isn't it? Don't you think so? Yes? Even you have, even I have, The problem with us is that we hold on to the negative of others and ourselves, and we forget about the positive. Why? I'll give you a very simple example. You should be like this, you tell somebody, and you yourself don't want to be the way other people should be, but you're now telling someone else the way they should be. So they are all defensive and justifying, and they're angry at you, and you wonder, why is this cycle going on in my life? For what reason? I love this person very much, or he loves me, or she loves me, or I don't get it. Well, the simple thing is because you're not accepting the person the way he or she is. You're just bringing your shoulds and should nots. And this has a way of breaking a relationship. The communication breaks down. Everything breaks down in that. It's not only in a relationship of a boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage. It's also with your colleagues. It's the same thing. So this applies not only to your daily life, it applies in the office, it applies at home, it applies with your children. And then once you start practicing, you also expect the other person, but that's not how it works. So this is a point of mind resilience. Do I want to build mind resilience, or do I want to blame others and continue living my life? Are you getting it? Am I making sense? Yeah, I think everyone knows this. But to apply it and to experience it, I feel, and science also says, the breath plays a very important role, yeah, in helping you to let go. Yes, Mo. Now, I've said a lot, so we can open the platform.
Yeah, what can I say? There's someone in the background there who has been nodding and saying all these things. There's a lot of connection with all mental health practices and approaches. And thank you very much for all this that you've said. It resonates so well. On the platform, we have mentors and circle keepers who hold spaces for other young people on mental health awareness, what we call community care and relational well-being. And I'm sure they are nodding behind the screen. I want to open the session for people to ask questions, to appreciate the presentation, and to give comments. Please raise your hand if you may, or you may write on the call chat. Sheila Bondi, your hand is up. Take it up. Sheila, you have the platform. Sheila, are you there? Or did you raise your hand by mistake? Okay, somebody else? Ben Oko, your hand is up.
Well, I think I raised it by mistake.
Ben, no, you can go ahead and...
Sorry, I had challenges with my microphone, but it's
okay,
sorted.
Go on, Sheila.
Thank you. I appreciate the session, learning a lot. I, however, have a question. I mean, all the tips are amazing and doable, but sometimes when someone is going through an issue, even the physical aspect of the body involuntarily react in a certain way. For example, you lose your appetite, you have that fearful feeling in your tummy, some have like a heartburn or a headache. You see, these are physiological reactions to stress and depression, if you may, that as much as you're telling your brain, I want to be positive, I'm looking for positivity, and I'm psyched and I'm excited, unfortunately, your body is also loudly telling you how you don't have the energy, you're feeling weak, you're crying, or you want to cry, or you're bitter. So these are not emotions that you can ignore, okay? So then my question would be, how do you maneuver through these emotions that sometimes take days or weeks before you reach a level of feeling mentally strong? How do you then deal with that so that it does not break you or bring you down? Because sometimes you can't avoid really how you physically feel. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks,
Wow.
Sheila. Yeah.
Sorry, Sheila, before you go, Sheila, I like your question, and there's something that they say, that trust the process. Some of these things are part of the process, so you can't wish them away. And I love a part of your question. You said involuntarily, like some things involuntarily happen within you or around you. You would have wished to have ignored, or you have wished to have stopped them from happening, but involuntarily they do happen. And I'm sure Nimo has something to say about that. Nimo?
Yeah. Thanks, Mo. That's true. I was very happy when Sheila asked this question. You know, the issue also that we have here is sometimes our emotions play up even when we don't want them to. We could be in a great setting, like we could be out for coffee with friends, or we could be out having a good time walking in the park, or you are just happy sitting in the matatu, you're not thinking of anything, but suddenly you have a rush of emotions. And the same thing I said, the trauma comes back into the system somehow. And the physiological part of emotions is as much important as the mental. Both are very important. They are connected. And one of the ways that we can deal with this is, we teach a beautiful, as I already mentioned, breathing exercises and exercises that help to let go. And you find the heaviness, the load on the body is much less as you practice. For example, when you go to the gym, you first have pains and aches, right? It's not an overnight change that, wow, my body looks good after 10 10 days. It takes time and effort. You have to change your diet, you have to change the way the way you want to look, and you're set yourself on a goal. And so the breathing exercise, and why I keep coming back to it, is because it is very scientific and it is proven. And those involuntary reactions that we have lessen over time as we learn how to do this breathing technique. It's known as the sky breath, and it's rolled out in colleges and schools all over the world, including Kenya. I've taught hundreds of kids and youth and adults. And Sheila, I would recommend for sure that you take up some kind of physical activity, because they both are related. You could do running, you could do gymming, you could do the breathing exercise, and all of it comes together. The problem with us in today's world and today's millennials is that we expect instant results. Yeah. And I get that totally. Myself also, I'm like that in so many ways, but I feel if you take time, like you take time to go to the gym because you want to see a result, you should also take time with yourself, with you, who you are. Because until you don't get that, you won't know how to deal with what you want in your life. And success and what you want and how you're processing it in your brain are both related. Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much, Nemo. And we can't explain it any better. But Sheila, I want to tell you, I just want to go back to the phrase involuntarily, because in the mental health world, when we're talking about the brain, there's what we call triggers and false alarms. Triggers and false alarms are just like the alarm of a car that is well fixed. and then there's a malfunctioning alarm. A well-fixed alarm only blurs out when someone is trying to steal the car, all right? But a false alarm, there could be wind just passing by, and your car alarm runs off. Or it could be maybe some music, another vehicle passes with some booming music, and your car alarm runs off. So the triggers and false alarm tell us that our brain is attuned to certain reactions. And when you have time, read about survival brain. Survival brain talks about hypersensitivity and hyposensitivity. When you're hypersensitive, you are feeling all the time that you're in danger. Even when you meet a cat, a very innocent cat, for you think that cat is going to harm you. Someone gives you some money, and in your mind you are saying, why are they giving me money? Probably they are out to bait me to get me into trouble. So when you are hypersensitive, that's when you are in false alarms. All the time your car alarm runs off because it is faulty. And that is when you talk about involuntary reactions by your body. But just like Nimo said, you have to keep practicing breathing, doing physical work, going out with people, so that you don't isolate yourself. And by, as your situation gets better, you even stop getting the involuntary reactions by until they stop altogether. All right. Any other question? I can see Dr. Mokhtar, his hand is up. Daktari, please take it up.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very powerful conversation on the theme on building mind resilience, and how does your mind wander into painful territories? How do you fix yourself? I think it's a powerful theme. But for me, I think what Nimo said was very targeted and very important. We must own our mind through our thinking and also through our actions. In the turbulent world which we live in, challenges are bound to happen, and the stressful situations is a living reality for the world in which we are, whether millennials, even for the adults. But we need to have a creative vision of the future, that today should be different, tomorrow should be different from today as we battle those stresses. Imagination has to be applied. You must think through how you are going to resolve your challenges. But it doesn't come, a problem will not be solved through fleeting thoughts or mere wishes. It's not enough to create the inventions to overcome your challenges through resilience. The mind and the thoughts that go through it is very interesting. Organized thought, your willpower, and self-discipline with other faculties of the mind, the five senses, will help us actually produce our desired results. But what is happiness? We all seek happiness despite the enormous challenges that we face. Sometimes we might find satisfaction in material things. It's not enough. We must therefore seek balance in our life and refrain from the negative vibes, as she rightly said. Look always at the bright side of things. There are numerous incidents, I think, which Mohammed is helping to resolve in the community where he is in his operating environment, of many cases of suicide or even suicidal thoughts. Thoughts determine our action. Therefore, the importance of habits in influencing our ability to achieve our organized thought is all rooted in the mind. We have concentration, we need to have focus, we need to have controlled attention to deliver what we want, and think through our challenges. For us, not only to be having some state of mental well-being, but even remain sane. If you see people talking to themselves, they are not crazy. They are trying to balance the thoughts that are coming through their heads. Sometimes you see friends talking to themselves. They are not. They are processing their thoughts on how to act on the challenges that they are going through. And neuroscience is the new science that helps us understand the brain, the mind. Doctors will tell you different meanings to each of these. But for us to help and create a very thoughtful thought process, action is critical to success, which means you must think before you act. Many times when Muhammad is helping communities and there are criminal cases, they tell you shaitani meningia. It has nothing to do with shaitani. It is your thought process and your action are correlated. Thought before action will help us to learn how to own our mind and remain sane, as I have said. Creative imagination helps us to apply what we think through as actions to help us. Finally, sometimes it's important to listen to music or religious vibrations because it helps you soothe your pressure and loosen up your brain. When you are tense, it helps you to relax. She talked about breathing. There are multiple neural processes that go through our brain. Finally, and the most important, it's important also we bond with the loved ones, with your family, with your friends, with your relatives. Have a community of support as you want to be mentally healthy and also resilient in the challenges of life. This will help you elevate your soul. Thank you very much.
Wow. How about that one? That can only come from Dr. Mukhtar Ogle. He is ever present and ever comes up to complement the guest speakers. Thank you very much, sir. Over to Nimo. Anything you want to add? Any other questions?
Mo, I'm very concerned about thank you, Dr. Mukhtar. That was awesome. And I think you saw me clapping in appreciation because you really gave a wonderful nutshell of how life's processes work. And through your experience, of course, we can learn so much, and it's a wonderful dialogue that we're having and opening for everybody here. And, I know as yourself and Mo, we're all very concerned with the increased suicide rates that are happening amongst the youth. And I really wanted to touch on this, and I wanted to, speak with Sheila and all those who feel like locking the door, closing the door and sitting in their room all day. And, there is ways and means that we can learn from each other. As I said, keep on learning how to build your mind resilience. And Mo, I don't know if you yourself have done anything to do with meditation. Is it something you would not want to talk about, or?
Nimo, if I had anything, if I had nothing to give to the world, then I would teach them how to breathe and how to meditate. Mindfulness, breathing, and meditation. It is a wonderful field. It is a
Right.
wonderful field.
So
Yeah.
the reason I asked you is, many people get a little scared when they hear meditation and breathing, and I'm like, no, don't worry. Actually, if you look in Google and the science of it, you'll see there's so much wealth of research, so much you can learn. And when science is now showing that when you meditate, you learn to build on that resource that is within you, and you're able to, channel it to your own life to become successful. And the more we learn how to deal with our emotions through, let's say, breathing and meditation, we also learn then how to deal with our life. Because I know nobody wants to sit in the room. And I used to do that when I was a young person. I used to be angry at the world. I used to go in the room, lock myself up for days. I don't know how much I troubled my mother. And I get it. I get what it feels like to have that trauma coming into your system and you remember everything and everybody, and you don't even want to think about it, but it keeps on coming. So, Sheila, I wanted to tell you something. If I tell you don't think of a jumping monkey, what will you be thinking about right now? Just the
Jumping monkey.
Yeah, see, when you learn about the mind, and I'll tell you a secret, see, when what you resist persists. So if I tell you don't do something, that's why dieting is so difficult. You'll keep on thinking about it. If I say don't think about chocolate cake, every day you'll say, oh my God, I need to have that chocolate cake, right? So the mind is what you resist persists. So, as all of us living in a world that's completely changed in the last 3 years, as Dr. Mukhtar so rightly said, we face stresses every day: financial, relationship, work, um, anything. Even getting a simple task like getting into the matatus becomes stressful. A simple task like using the roads, a simple task like, anything. Everything is fast paced. You have to be on top of it. So don't stay behind. Don't do this and say I'm not for this world and I can't do it. You move yourself ahead in this world. Keep on moving. And I did that for myself. My brothers, two of them were very young, and those who know me, my brother, he passed away tragically. Two of my brothers, they were very young, and I was able to overcome that. I was able to understand myself. Either I had a choice to lock myself up and say, oh my God, look, the world is so bad. Two of my brothers, they're my real brothers, both died. But I thought, no, I must go ahead and I must move my life ahead. So you can't tell me that you can't do it. You can. I did it. And I don't want any other youth. That's the 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 intention I took within myself, that I will go out and train youth, as many children in schools. I will train them how to deal with their mind, how to let go of stress so that they can be successful. And I've had really good results with that. So Sheila, I really want to tell you, can't always be happy, remember? Okay? They can't always be the best human being on earth who will marry you or be with you. You also have to change. You also have to make those adjustments and sacrifices. Life is about that. Live life. Take the good, take the bad, and put them together, and both will make your life. Don't go in extremes, because that's not what life is. It's a very beautiful process, and you must allow that to work for everyone, I'm saying, in your life. Thanks, Mo. Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much, Nimo, on that one. I have two requests. And I will be reading what's going on the call chat. But after that, kindly let us not finish this call without you demonstrating at least one way of mindfulness breathing. And second thing that I would really wish you not to go away with is when Ben sent a post yesterday, it talked about our minds wandering around and giving ourselves ultimatums like, I want to be an engineer. So if I'm not an engineer, then I am screwed up or whatever. Or like, my husband has to be home by 6. So if they're not home by 6, then you are crazy. Or I want this blue scarf. If I don't get it, then nothing else matters. I want to also to talk about that. Like, how do we circumnavigate the little boundaries that we create for our own selves, and then they become the triggers to our unhappiness? Before you do that, allow me to read what's on the call chat. We have Riziki Mwakusirikwa saying, after introducing herself as coming from SambaSports, she says, welcome all to Mental Health Tuesday. I can recognize my teacher, Madam Ann Jaguar. Beautiful reunion. Thank you very much, Mama Riziki. Again, you have Manaisha Kwania saying, wow, I love the discussion. Manaisha comes again saying, take time to understand yourself, understand how the brain works, and also understand what works for you to regulate yourself. I think that was going to Sheila. Thank you very much, Manaisha. Riziki comes back saying, yes, we have been using mindful breathing, and it has worked wonderful after session. I love to do it, especially after journey of life sharing. Thank you very much. Manisha comes back saying you can also read about the nervous system, or the vagus nerve, what we like calling, and learn more about the vagus nerve and its connection with the brain. Thank you very much. And Nimo has shared a link, very useful, I'm sure. Naznim Asif Karim says, how do we learn the breathing technique and how long does it take? We can change through this positively, but what about the person who causes the stress in the first place? Should they do the breathing exercise or just the victim? Oh, thank you. Nimo, this is a technical one. I don't know how many marks this question would fetch. I think out of 100, those would be 50 marks out of the many questions. So over to you on that one. Lucio John says, awesome presentation. Juma says,
I think,
yes.
I think I have an answer for that because I've applied it in my own life. So, if somebody's causing stress to you and you're always reacting rather than responding, normally our first response is a reaction to somebody. If somebody says something to you and you say, they always say the same thing to me again and again, the same humiliation, the same insult, the same taunt, or the same, words. So the first response you have is you want to react in anger or, silence, or, push something away. This is another question I have for everybody. What do we do when we have such a situation? We store our anger somewhere. Where do we put anger? Where do you put frustration? Where do you put depression? There is no category for it. The body has a system where you can let go of it, and it's a very natural system which children use, and that, again, I go back to, is the breath. But when somebody's faced with that situation day in and day out, you have to learn to respond. And again, I go back to the same thing. When you learn about your own mind and you see that person as stressed, that person also has some stress. When you're angry, you look at your anger very carefully. Your anger is not about the person. It's about something that happened maybe 2 months ago and you took it out on the person who came in front of you. So if I ask you, what are you angry about? You'll say, just what you said. But then if you ask the person, what did I say? I don't remember. Whatever it was you said made me just completely mad at you. Yeah. But you were triggering from something from past that came into your present and you took it out on that person. So the answer to that question is, one, you first do the breathing or the calming techniques, or the calming processes. And then you go into that situation. And when that person doesn't get a response from you, the same reaction from you, it breaks the cycle. It breaks the cycle of negativity that continues in your life. And this is one very key aspect of relationships, very crucial, critical way of, I see around me, everybody's just 1 year marriage, done. 5 months, I can't stand the person. Wait. So what happened to patience, and what happened to, us being, able to learn about another person? It takes time. And learning about yourself first allows you also to know how the person is, know their characteristics. I think our forefathers, our grandmothers, and fathers, they knew very well this. They never even met their partners and they're still okay. Because slowly you learn acceptance, right? You learn how to accept the person. Their personality is there. That's how they are. But our generation doesn't know that. We want and expect. This is a big word, expect. You haven't even talked to that person about what you want. You expect a certain behavior. You should be like this. You have to be like this, So that's the answer to your question. And then slowly you can make the other person come to listen to you. But you have to first start, and then it works that way. So
thank you very much, Nimo. Called breaking the cycle of violence. So when you have a stop, then it doesn't continue. But when you react, then basically you are igniting them to do it more and more and more.
Yes.
Thank you. Juma Hassan says, a strong body is a strong mind. Of course. Thank you very much. Desire Youth Initiative says, good presentation, mashallah. Thank you very much. Manisha says, wow, I love this. I'm moved. Dr. Mukhtar says, creative imagination of new idea is a means to apply the imagination with the persistence to keep up and on with your resilient journey despite teething challenges and failures. Thank you very much, Dr. Cephas Juma says, very powerful. We need more of these sessions to reach our community. Sad to see a young man who committed suicide today in the morning, leaving his grade 6 son preparing for a national examination that starts on Monday. Cephas, there's no amount of words that we can share to console with you and the boy, but we need to be strong and to affect our communities with the right thought processes. Nimo, over to you.
Yeah, so I'm really, sad to hear that, and I had touched on this in the beginning about how suicide was becoming a trend. We need, as a community, as all of us together, to become collaborators. Whichever network we have, we need to work together to bring a happy, healthy, and a stress-free society and a violence-free society. We really need to train our youth and our children from young age how to regulate their emotions. And this is where the art of living is very much at the forefront, with governments around the world working together. In Mexico, the Art of Living Schools program has been it's part of the curriculum now. It's been initiated as part of the curriculum, because I feel you can have academics, but you also need to know how to live your life. Why are we only focusing on one part? And why are we allowing, the community-based interventions are great, but if we learned this at school, it would be a wonderful way to have a healthy society. I don't know if you know, in Dubai, in the Middle East, they have a happiness ministry. They have developed a happiness ministry, because a happy society goes hand in hand with productivity and GDP, and economic activity. And in the UK, I don't know if you know, they've started a loneliness ministry, a ministry to tackle loneliness, because so many people are lonely. And I feel in the years to come, unless we all work together very strongly, we'll also be having something which will need to tackle mental health, a ministry that's completely just for that. And I feel it's very important we have that now, because when I go into schools and I teach the kids, I hear feedback from them. Feedback is very important, and a child never lies. So we have a game called Start, Stop, Continue, which I play with the kids. So I ask them, what will you start doing? The good things, and I give them examples. So I say, what will you stop doing and what will you continue? And so many of the kids share, we'll stop watching bad movies, we'll stop alcohol, we'll stop drugs, So I really feel that if we can work together as a community, together with all of you who have commented, we will stop this kind of happening of a precious, precious life. It saddens me deeply to see this kind of it. I have, no words. So we as a community, the one basic thing we can do also is listen. We stop listening. Listen to your neighbor 2 minutes. 2 minutes, listen to your neighbor. If they call you for tea and you're super busy, because we're all super busy, we have to make money and we have to do this and that. But please take time to speak to someone. Your colleague might be desperately seeking some help from you. Even one kind word, 1 minute of your time can change a life. So this is the first beginning that we can do, the first step. And you had asked also about being an engineer and the boundaries we set for ourselves. And I feel the youth of today, our generation of today, they have such a wonderful opportunity to break all boundaries for themselves. And one of the ways is to use technology in a positive way as influencers, to make people understand about their country. What is it about their country that makes them proud? What is it about themselves that they do? This little things, like people don't know about ugali and skuma wiki is a superfood, but we are so engrossed in KFC or other. I'm not against it, please don't get me wrong, but these things are very important. Your culture, who you are, where you come from, your traditions are things that root you and also make you come together as a family and allow you to experience life. So when that breaks down, which is what's happening in today's world, we find that this kind of tendencies come up where people feel so lost. Material things are not making them happy. And I'll give you a small example more. If, for example, if I have a new phone and I come to him, oh, yeah, I've got a new phone. And well, you come to me and say, well, yeah, this morning I bought iPhone, I don't know, iPhone 14 Max. And mine is iPhone 14 only. Where did you get the Max from? So already, that comparison happens and I have a phone. I should be happy for it. If you see when you get something great, nice, you're happy for maybe an hour, and then you start looking next door to see who has something better than you. Desires are endless, and when we learn to manage it, it works well for us. So breaking your boundaries of who you are, to engineer, a college student, not feeling unhappy because you didn't score or you didn't get that job. Failure is part of life. I know there was somebody who applied for 9,000 jobs and then finally got in Google. It was all over the news yesterday. And I thought, look at this guy's forbearance and patience. He wanted a job in Google and he waited for 9,000 applications before he got in. It took him 5 years. And, our youth are, I didn't get a job. I didn't get the highest KCSE score, so bye-bye. What? Wait. Your life is so precious. You are so precious for this planet. Don't wait for somebody to tell you that. I'm saying it. Carry on with your life. We're not many of us to say that to people because we're too busy living our own lives. So I feel if we could just take 2 minutes and say that to somebody, hey, wait, I care for you. It changes a life. It changes the way they look at the world. You never know. Never know. So break all your boundaries. Don't keep any boundary for yourself. And today's youth have to have multiple skills, I feel. If you stick to one, you will be disappointed. So if you say, I want to only be an engineer, you have to break that boundary and make other skills available. You can be a data scientist. There's so many online courses available, so many opportunities for you to tap into. Maybe you're good at YouTube influencing, using your degree as an engineer, and that makes you successful. So find multiple careers. Don't stick to one, okay? And that will help you to come out of any feeling of, God, this job market in Kenya is the worst. No, everybody can succeed and will succeed. You have to, again, and I go back to basics, learn to work with your mind, your breath, and everything happens really well. Yeah.
Wow, Nimo. What can we say? We are out of time now, but I just want to say the adage. They say that comparison is the thief of joy, and our generation is made up of people who compare everything, even my nails. Why are they so fat, and somebody's nails, why are they so tall, and whatever. As in, even the simplest of things, we are continuously comparing and saying how we are so bad and the others are so great. A story is said of two families that lived very close together. One family had built their own house, but they didn't have the best furniture. They didn't have the best vehicle. And they had built, let's say, a 10 million house. And spouses kept asking, why are we not like the neighbors? The neighbors have a better car, they have better sofa sets and stuff and stuff. What they did not know is that the neighbors were renting on that house, yet they had built their own house. So we are always in comparison, and it makes us so sick. Nimo, if you may allow, please, we want to invite you again next week, if possible, and we delve into how do we build mind resilience that can prevent the mushrooming suicide.
Yes, I really am very keen on this, and we can work together. I believe Ben has shared with you a couple of excerpts that we share with the youth, and I do a program known as the Youth Leadership Training Program, and that has been very successful. We have taken time to teach the youth in a 7-day residential training program that has really worked for them and given them an opportunity to learn about themselves. I think I'll leave that to Ben to share with you the success of that. And I would really like to work with you and the rest of the youth team here, the community influencers, all of you who are making a difference in society. Please, let's join hands. Let's make this world a healthy, happy society, because we can't blame our youth. They are living their lives in the way the world is shaped up, and we must support them to achieve and enable their dreams. And this is a wish of mine for the Kenyan youth. Definitely, we need to work together. We need to make sure that suicide is not a trend. Even in the richest of societies, this has become an issue. And even in Kenya now, it's the same. So we shouldn't think, I've worked at ground level, I've worked with kids who are from the best schools here. You're all going through the same experience. Don't bring that divide in your mind. When prejudice comes, that's where society starts to break up. When we have a prejudice about somebody, we've already judged them and labeled, oh, he wears a Gucci jacket or he drives a Range Rover. He's rich and happy. Hold on. How many times have you seen somebody in a car smile, apart from the Nairobi traffic? Give me a reason. I want to see everybody smile. Why not? Life is so short. Why? You're comparing that this person most of the people who are having hundreds and millions of shillings, worrying about how they can keep that, and you're worrying about that person who's sitting in his house, worrying about that. Can't even eat, he can't even sleep, he's always taking Prozac or something else, or some medicine to keep his stomach okay. And then this is how the world is. So have some education. I tell my youth, come on, have some education. This is the reality. You spend 2 days with somebody and you'll run from there. You'll run for your community. And this is where I feel the world will move. We're going to look for that family experience, that community experience. Don't lose it. You have a beautiful community experience in Kenya. It's important you build on it. Your family, how you relate to each other, how don't lose that sense of caring, because then we'll be forced to set up loneliness ministry here also. I don't want that. We must work together. So I am very concerned about the youth suicide, because I've talked with my cousins alone. I'll give you a home example. I had a nephew of mine come in from Australia, and I took him into Kibera. We had donated some sports equipment in one of the schools, and he had never been there. So I said, let's go in and have a look at this. And he was so moved, and we were hungry because we had just come back from, we were there for 3 hours. So I said, all right, I'll take you somewhere. And he said, he's only 14. But he said, I have to share something with you. And I said, go ahead. He said, out of my 5 friends, all of them have tried to commit suicide. So I was in a bit of shock. I was like, okay. I said, what's the name of your school? He gave me the name of his school in Australia. And then he said, wait, I have something else to tell you. I have a number of cousins who live in Australia. So his cousin's school also, he shared that in that school also, it's become a trend. Every week, one youth is committing suicide, and this is the trend. She said it's become so bad, the school doesn't even react to it now. It's like normal. So, we need to work and help people understand how to regulate their emotions as an experience, not just as an intellectual thing. And that's where this whole end to suicide will happen. Any life for me is precious, any life. And Mo, I think you feel the same way. It's burning you inside just to hear about the story that our friend shared on the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Nimo. and we will give you room where you can stay and anchor all these programs. We will talk about this, but for tonight, let it end here. And it's been a wonderful evening. Such exciting presentation and sharing. I know there are so many questions still to be answered, but if we are patient, can we start with these questions in our next session? Hopefully Tuesday you are available next Tuesday, Nimo?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Definitely.
So we'll start with the questions, and then we go into the main topic of how might we then proactively prevent suicide. All right. Thank you very much, wonderful people. It's been an amazing evening, and we cannot thank you more. We can't have it as exciting if it were not for your presence. Nimo, you are just God sent. Love you, and good night. God bless you.
Good night. Thank you. Good night.